Welcome everybody to another episode of our digital art nights here at the Brickstar Museum. For those of you who are familiar with what we do here, usually in a regular year, the museum hosts an art night every Friday in the summer or every second Friday, where we open the museum until 8 o'clock in the evening, and we welcome visitors to come in for free and enjoy the exhibits that we have going on, both art and historical, based on what we have going on that year. With the pandemic, we've opted not to stay open late into the evening, but we've decided to be bringing you these programs digitally, so you're able to either watch them at your own pace or every Friday, as we'll be releasing them throughout the summer. So I want to remind everybody that the museum is open regular hours. If you want to come in and you feel comfortable coming in, we would love to see you. We're open with limited capacity, and we always are encouraging mask wearing, as well as plenty of hand sanitizer here in the galleries to go around. So if you're comfortable coming in, we look forward to seeing you then. And of course, you'll be able to see in person some of the pieces that the artists will be talking about in the videos following my introduction here. So as I said, Art Nights originally started a couple of years ago, and we were open for free, and we had local artists teaching visitors about various different types of art, like pen and ink or how to create a comic book. So really fun things to do. And we'll be working on bringing some of those things to you digitally as well. So this year we're going to be posting digital artist visits, so videos, talking with local artists every Friday to our Facebook page, our YouTube channel, as well as our website. So as I said, they'll be accessible to you whenever you would like to watch them. And I just want to mention that this project is funded in part by a grant from the Maine Arts Commission, which is a independent state agency supported by the National Endowment for the Arts. So we really appreciate the support of Maine Arts Commission, especially in this process that we're all still getting used to. So as we explore artwork tonight, I hope that you enjoy. And of course, if you have any questions for the artist, these are obviously pre-recorded. But if you have any questions for the artist or for the museum staff, make sure that you put your questions below in the comments, obviously on Facebook or YouTube, and of course on our website, there's a comment section as well. And then we will work on getting those questions answered for you. Tonight, we're going to be visiting with Bruce McMillan, who is a watercolor artist after he became a photographer. And he's also in the museum's bicentennial show called Perspectives 2020. Bruce is going to be talking to us about his process in creating the piece for the show, as well as his background in photography, watercolor, and everything in between. This is a fun interview, and I hope you enjoy. Here's Bruce. Okay, we are here today with Bruce, and he's going to be talking about his piece that's in our bicentennial show. Hi, Bruce. How are you?
I am fine.
Good.
Yeah, no, I'm lovely. It's nice how you set this up with this dress next to the painting. I'm pretty pleased.
Excellent.
Yeah, walked in and went, nice, very nice.
So you were just telling me about your research that you did for this piece.
Yeah,
about
I came here. Well, I came here and to look up old photographs.
Okay.
And I went through and I saw many, many, many photographs, because this is a historical thing, bicentennial thing. So, I mean, I could have done something contemporary, but I wanted to sort of go into history. And I found this one of these three ladies on Kennebunk Beach. Now, some people call it Mother's Beach, but it's Kennebunk Beach. And boy, there's a whole big piece. If you go to Google and look up Kennebunk Beach, you know, you'll find, or Kennebunk, you'll find a dissertation on it. But anyhow, these three ladies were looking out, and I just loved it. Now, it was a black and white photograph.
Yeah.
And so I love to do research. So when I went and did my research, I was surprised to find, and delighted to find, that in the 1900s, and that's when this was done, circa 1900, the bright colors were used for the ladies' dresses, because I mean, look at this. This is a rather drab color, and we see black and white photographs, and we're thinking, oh yeah, they were just drab colors. But no, they used bright colors, and so I had fun playing with the colors. And then, as far as the style of the painting, it's kind of loose, but it is still pretty pictorial. My career has been photography. I've done 45 children's books to adult books, all photographs. And so what I've done is I've tried to keep it pictorial because it's kind of a historical thing. But as you can see, like on this painting that's in the museum collection that I did up at Cape Porpoise, I have a really loose style. I love just painting loose. I love interpreting it. We all have our own styles. And I just find it nice and loose. So I'm not as concerned about making an exact replica of a painting. I mean, I can see some other fine painters in here. Peter Roth has a nice painting of the wedding house. He's a very pictorial representational painter. That's his style, and it's really good. And he does it well. But this, I tend to try to do loose. Now you can still see it's loose within the framework. So it still has my style, but it is more of a straightforward thing. And I love the reason I chose this particular photograph to paint from was it was Kennebunk Beach, and then it was these ladies just looking out. And so it gave you a suggestion of you know, it's like a narrative. What are they looking at?
Right.
You know, I mean, it leads to a story, because I did all the books, all the 45 kids books, and what I'm a storyteller, so I like a narrative quality in a painting if possible.
Sure.
So anyhow, that's I love the little touches of the lady's feather.
Yeah, that's a great one.
That was up there and stuff, and I noticed the boots that they all wore, all the ties and stuff.
So you mentioned earlier, and I should have started with this question. So did you start as a photographer, or how did your career start?
Oh yeah, no kidding. Well, one of the I grew up in Kennebunk.
Okay.
And my father taught photography classes here at the Brickstone Museum.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and so I was like, I feel a strong connection to the Brickstore. And yeah, we used to go to the library across the street, and also, anyhow, my father taught photography. I became a photographer through him. He was a great teacher because he didn't tell me how to take photographs, he showed me, you know. So anyhow, my degree's in biology, but I just kept going with photography. And after all the photographs of the career, I decided to try something new with painting, because painting is you can do anything, as my grandson says. It's a painting, you can do anything.
That's right.
It just much more, it's freer, it's looser, and it's a whole different thing from photography, but still the photography does come through because you're visually always looking at things.
Sure.
So my whole life has been tied in with looking at things and visually interpreting things, playing with things. I like to be playful, and I play with words. I like to play with poetry. I write poems every day. So.
Wow. So that brings up an interesting question in that the woman who founded the Brickstore Museum, Edith Barry.
Yes, I remember my father, he talked about Mrs. Barry.
Yeah. She was an artist herself.
Yeah.
And was also, when she traveled around the world, took a lot of photographs. And I often think of her that she was always kind of looking for what would make up a good, you know, either photo or a good painting or something like that. Or as you walk around just in regular life, are you always kind of seeing those pictures?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's not something you turn on or off. It's just how you look at things. I always have looked at things. You know, I took pictures for the Kennebunk, you know, in high school for the Kennebunky Highlights newspaper for the yearbook. You know, and you start looking at things.
Yeah.
And once you start, you can't stop. And the trick is not to copy other people, but to be your own self.
Sure.
Exactly. Just go on your own style.
Yep. So, when would you say you started doing
watercolors?
Watercolors.
About 10 years ago. I started my children's book career. As my editors got started retiring and companies started selling and stuff, and it just sort of slowed down. That's okay. I went with the flow and I started playing with watercolors.
Yeah.
And shifted off to self-taught to play with. And I look back at what I started and I go like, oh my gosh. It's just, you know, it's just so funny to think back. But like anything, you learn.
Sure.
I mean, I go to the MFA, I see a sergeant's watercolor show. I look closely, I see that, well, he's got some sparkles in the water, and I go like, how did he do that? And I read, he used a wax candle, little wax resist. So I've done paintings.
Interesting.
Oh okay. Yeah, I've done paintings like one of the honorable mention paintings at Castine, at the Castine Plein Air show.
Yep.
I did. I actually drew. And it was a nighttime painting. I just drew a line with wax, and then I painted over it, and there was a rope.
Oh, indeed.
Yeah, it was that simple. How did you do that? Just pay attention when you're looking at the paintings of the masters.
Yes, quite.
Yeah.
So, what would you say, you've kind of been describing it all along, but what would you say is your favorite thing about painting or capturing images in painting? Your brain is engaged. You're always thinking. The only problem is it makes it very hard to go to sleep at night because you can't turn your brain off. And one of the things that my paintings are noted for is my use of color. I've researched, I only use watercolors that are archival. I've seen some friends and great painters that use watercolors that will fade. Yeah.
And I try to get the most archival is one thing, and the second thing is I try to get colors that are bright. You can always dull down a color. You can never brighten it up. In other words, this nice rich yellow, I can dull it down with some burnt sienna or whatever, or this nice red or whatever, but I can't brighten it than what it is. So I start with bright colors.
Okay.
And when I paint, I overpaint, I layer color. You can see here, I rarely use green.
Yep.
You can look and you can see I lay down yellow, and then I start layering colors over it, blues over it, and that builds up. There's purples, see, and blues, two different blues in there, so you get this nice variable effect.
Wow. Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, I just have a good time. I really do. I enjoy, and one of the things I do is I like to use a pen. Now, you'll see a lot of artists will use pencil.
Okay.
And I'm a signature member of the Vermont Watercolor Society, and they go like crazy because they're purists.
Oh, okay.
But anyhow, I commit. If you use, you'll see people with pencil and they'll draw and then erase, draw and erase, draw and, they're nigglers. Oil painters are nigglers. But I commit.
Yes.
And with the pen, once you lay it on, that's it.
Yeah.
And so go with it.
Wow.
Commit, and then it means, some people say watercolors are so difficult, and I go like, I find it quite the opposite. Oh. it's so playful, because watercolors will take on a life of their own. You can do wet and wet, lay in colors, and you can see the shading of the colors where I go with cobalt green up to an ultramarine up top here, and I'll take the painting and I'll switch it, and it's all wet, and I'll be tipping it and rolling the color around.
Okay. Yeah.
And then otherwise, I'll do dry it when I'm dry, and you'll get these nice crisp, leaving out white touches for the waves.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's great fun.
That's fantastic. It's so nice to hear you talk so excitedly about your work. It's just you have a good time. And it's funny because the paintings that you feel that are most successful have the fewest brush strokes. In other words, like the sky, very few brush strokes with 3 different colors. Sure.
Boom, 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 boom.
Yep. Wow. That's fantastic.
And even though it's a boat, look at the drawing I did here. Look at this big square in the back. That's okay. You just go with it.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Yep. Oh, that's funny. So, what are you working on things now?
Oh, I always work on paintings. Yeah. I'm always, it's a shame with the pandemic for everybody, but with the pandemic, it means all the shows. This is one of the shows that was already going.
Yeah.
And I'm pleased that it's up. But so many other shows are canceled.
Sure, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so, but that's okay. I paint, and I'm not painting to sell. There's no economic necessity.
Yeah.
I'm painting to paint paintings.
Yeah.
And to have a good time, and yet they do sell. I've had some nice successes. I had 4 paintings at Castine Plein Air Festival last year. 4 paintings sold.
Wow.
And an honorable mention.
Fantastic.
And, yeah.
Well,
You never know, but you do it because it's just great fun to do. You know, some are satisfying.
Sure.
And some are like, and what I do is, if a painting doesn't work, I look at it and I say, you know what that is? Bookmarks.
Oh.
And I'll take and I'll cut them up into 1x7 strips with a paper cutter, and then I'll put autographs on the back, and I'll give friends bookmarks. And all people love if they're original or watercolor bookmarks. No two are the same.
That's excellent.
But it didn't work as a painting, but that's okay. And sometimes it's fun to you're actually composing bookmarks with your rejects. So, yeah.
Wow, what a fantastic idea. I love that.
Oh yeah, it's great fun. I just love doing it.
That's excellent. Well, Bruce, I've come to the last of my questions, but is there anything that you want to mention that we've missed talking about?
No, I'm honored. I'm so pleased to be in the show here. I'm tickled to have a painting here at the brick store where my dad taught.
Yes, that's very poetic.
Photography. He actually took some art classes here from Cal Wilson.
Oh, sure.
And so I'm pretty pleased to have that connection still going.
That's excellent.
He was a photographer in his own right. He used to exhibit at the Boston Camera Club.
Oh, okay.
And that's where I saw great photographs and saw how shows were juried and picked and stuff.
Oh, right, of course.
So yeah, no, it was just I had that fortunate upbringing.
Right. That's fantastic. Well, thank you, Bruce. I really appreciate you taking the
Oh,
time
it's
to
my
come
pleasure.
today and to talk to us about your paintings.
Thanks.
And we will see you
And
soon.
thanks again for putting up this
Oh, of course.
this nice coordinated outfit.
Yes.
And also, she's looking at you, even though she's fabulous, and they're looking
Yes,
out to the
we
city.
actually had a discussion about that, about whether we should turn her or cut them. But yeah, so we decided to do both sides.
You get to see the front of what
Exactly.
you don't get to see there.
That's right.
I did like the little gestures here, though. The ladies.
Yes.
The ladies, she was leaning, she was coming back. That's what caught my eye in that particular photograph. They had these little gestures going.
Yes, for
So
sure.
that was kind of fun to pick
It really
up.
does make you wonder what they're looking at because you can't see it in the picture.
Oh yeah, I know. It's not. And I was wondering if it was a sailing ship out there.
Oh yeah.
That was. I was guessing, but
yes, exactly.
you never know.
Well, that's fantastic. Thank you so much, Bruce.
Well, thank you. This has been great.